Hello and welcome to another edition of Trends with LJE, where we bring you the latest and developing stories in and across Nigeria and, of course, Africa. I am John Nkamian. Now, do well to be part of our growing online community by hitting the follow button, like and share button right now on all platforms at LJE Nigeria. Joining me to dissect today's trending stories are Shedrack Okar and, of course, Miriam Gamali. Thank you, Miriam and Shedrack, for making time to be with us on the show this morning.
Thank you.
Now, let's quickly run through our headlines for this edition of Trends. Christian genocide. Tinubu set for emergency talks with Trump as conspiracy theories rise after Trump threatens Nigeria with attack. Religious tension deepens as Muric, Alleges can betrayed Tinubu. Do not test Trump's resolve. U.S. Congressman threatens action against Nigerian government. Ndume to federal government deploy Akinyemi Kingibe Anyoku to defend Nigeria's image before the U.S. I am committed to advancing the bill. Senator Ted Cruz pushes measures against enforcers of blasphemy Sharia laws in Nigeria. Now we start with this story where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is expected to meet with United States President Donald Trump in the coming days amid rising global concern over alleged attacks on Christians in Nigeria. This was confirmed by Daniel Bauer, Special Advisor to the President on Policy Communication, who disclosed the planned meeting in a statement on Sunday. Now, let's watch this video as the Foreign Ministry also reacted to the statement of U.S. President Donald Trump on the killings of Christians, which he has referred to as genocide, and of course, the plans of Mr. President to meet with the U.S. President.
The Nigerian government is willing to partner with our allies all over the world to assist us in fighting Boko Haram, to fight terrorist groups, to fight bandits. But it should be with the provision of assistance to the Nigerian military, but not unilateral strikes in our territory. The Nigerian government.
Now, Shedrack, the Foreign Affairs Ministry has admitted to the fact that the Nigerian government is open to collaborating with the U.S. in the fight against terrorism, but categorically has stated that it is not open to a unilateral strike by the U.S. forces in the Nigerian territory. Of course, they are waving the sovereignty state flag in front of the U.S., of course, knowing that the U.S. is the #1 champion of democracy and sovereignty across the globe. But what's your reaction to the position of U.S. President Donald Trump? And he's gotten a number of senators and congressmen who are also backing his move to take action in Nigeria against terrorism and, of course, most importantly, the killings of Christians.
Well, this latest development is worrisome, which I term as a burden of contradiction. For me, I think let me align myself with the position of our foreign ministry, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, on the position of not welcoming unilateral reaction from the U.S. I align myself with that position. But on Donald Trump, I think Donald Trump did not just make a statement out of excitement. I think it was premised upon long overdue concern and appeal by Nigerians themselves calling for help over the long-term failure of our government to quell insecurity in the country. Yes, agreed that the deaths of both Muslims and Christians. But for ordinary Nigerians, we are not looking at the coloration of whether it is Christian or Muslim that died. We are looking at the death of Nigerians, continuous death of Nigeria, and the inability of our government to do anything. In fact, more terribly is the fact that the government, by their own action, showed that they are complicit in the killings of fellow citizens, Nigerians, by way of allowing. And I find it very funny that most of the people who today are talking tough, maybe psychophone just to please the government, are people who have presented papers over time. People like former Foreign Affairs Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode. These people have written over time long epistles addressing the world to come to our aid over Christian genocide in Nigeria. Someone like the former Defense Minister, Minister of Defense, T.Y. Danjuma, a respected Army General, have presented paper in the United Nations on this subject. Twice. Over time, there have been, these things are there. We see in a country where if a governor, a sitting governor, was being threatened by these terrorists, in fact, his convoy shot upon, and nothing was done. We had a president, he never issued a statement. So all these things are not things that today you come out confident for people to come and deny. In fact, I have 10 classifications or factors that when you see these things in your country, you know these are symbols of genocide. Number one is classification, symbolization, discrimination, dehumanization, organization, polarization, preparation, persecution, extermination, and then denial. Over 70% of these things are very well imminent and seated in Nigeria. Are we waiting for Nigeria to become a city like a country like Rwanda before we call for foreign aid? Our government have not shown readiness, willingness to tackle this issue. People die, 500 people, 1,000 people buried in a day, and all the president is interested to travel to France to go and check his body, buying private jet, and they are looting our resources. What are they afraid of? I can say this pitch Nigerians again are leaders, because the people that are crying the loudest are politicians because of what they stand to lose. Government have not been able to provide security for Nigerians, and we are worried. Of course, we need help in this country. Let them come and help us. We have seen Army General sitting down with terrorists. And the statement of President Trump said, if Nigerian government continue to allow, underline the word, if you continue to allow, US will step in. How does Nigerian government portray the contradicting the statement? They have continued to allow by rewarding terrorism. Nnamdi Kanu is being held for over 4 years. But here we see Nigerian government sitting down with terrorists that carry weapons. They escort them back to their formations. And what does that mean? Nigerians kiss and romance with terrorists. And this is unacceptable in 21st century country. Of course, Donald Trump issued that strong statement, like I said, a burden of contradiction, because it is both support and against. For Nigeria, it's a mixed feeling for all of us as citizens. But Nigerian government, this is not the time to travel to the US to go and meet anybody. It's a time to take action. Let there be culprit. Fish out the people and let's see.
Miriam, could Donald Trump and the US government be asking a question that I personally have asked over the years? What is the value of the life of a Nigerian? What?
We as Nigerians, I don't even know if our leaders see us as anything.
As human beings.
As human beings, exactly. Because how will you tell me that over months, this killing has been going on, and no person, even the governors of these states, the leaders, nobody has come out to say, this is happening. Rather, they will say that, and people will just try to water it down. Why are you watering it down? Are you trying to say that, okay, these people that are dying, they are worthless? Their life are not worth anything. They are watering it down. Nobody is saying anything. Okay, now Donald Trump has come out to talk. This is when our president has now said he wants to go to the US. Go to the US to do what? You've been in this country. This thing has been happening, and you're not doing anything. Then it is now you want to get up to go to the US. Really? This is the same person that in 2014, I remember, he went and reported the former President Goodluck Jonathan, about insecurity. He reported him to the US. Because of this same insecurity, until today, okay, he's going again to the US. To do what? I don't know. I just hope that Donald Trump or the US comes in and helps Nigeria, because we are, at this point, we are helpless. We cannot help ourselves, and we need help in this country.
Well, you tell me. Of course, that's why we say click on that like, follow, share button. And of course, your comments will also be appreciated as this matter, this developing story continues to evolve. Moving ahead, as conspiracy theories rise after Donald Trump's threats to Nigeria with attacks, conspiracy theories have a field day so far in the country and elsewhere after United States President Donald Trump threatened to attack the West African nation. Now, as far as Donald Trump is concerned, he had claimed that without, of course, presenting any evidence, that there was an ongoing Christian genocide in the country, endangering and designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. The U.S. government blames Fulani militia for alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. Now, the allegation was contained in a position conveyed by the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, in a tense statement following President Donald Trump's decision to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Nigerian authorities have consistently denied the genocide claims. Trump's threat has divided opinions in the country's social media space, fueling conspiracy theory. Now, let's watch this video as Adam give some deep analysis on the issues.
Particular concern for the purpose of genocide against Christian population. This means that the US is now going to start official procedural proceedings against Nigeria in some strategic interests where Nigeria is a concern, especially in the area of weapons deployment, because they believe that some of the official weapons that is being supplied to Nigeria find its way into the hands of these terrorists that are committing such genocide. So an action is going to be taken against them. One of the sorts of concern with that designation is that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is not just standing on the CPC designation. He is also requesting that the House Appropriation Committee chairman and some of the committee responsible, like Tom Riley, to sit down and come back and report to him. And he claims that he will not stand idle by to see fellow Christians are being killed in Nigeria. Most possibly, there is a program or a plan for the boots to be on the ground in order to help prevent the genocide. Most possibly, this is also one of the factors that they are likely going to consider. It means that the general failure of Nigerian leadership may lead to the US boots on the ground in Nigerian soil. And this is very, very damaging to this country. So it means that there is a general vote of no confidence on the current leadership system of the country. They believe that there is a general failure of leadership to provide security of life and property, and that they must do something extra to be able to help in provision of this protection for the life and property of some of the citizens in Nigeria that they're concerned about, especially the Christians. And I believe that's what it's trying to do. So here is what I want to say. The Muslims in this country should not see this as a direct attack against them. Rather, it's a direct attack against the militant terrorist organization. So, and there should be no issue of anger pointed towards some Christian population simply because of this is happening, but rather there should be a general consensus and understanding between the citizens of Nigeria so that we should all understand that there is a failure of leadership in the country, especially the political leadership and the security leadership, to provide the necessary protection that is required for a peaceful and prosperous society. And that is what led us to this problem. So the problem should be viewed from the lens.
So, Shadrach, how do you react to Adamu's analysis of this development?
A very well patriotic and balanced analysis. Nothing to add. He spoke from the point of patriotism. This is not an issue of Christian against Muslim, just like the Muric have just insinuated. We are talking about lives of people that are lost. And the fact that it is mostly Christians who did that application or petition to the US, then the Muslims should do the same. Of course, we were here in this country in 2014, where some Muslims and governors from the north went to America. This same America brought in the Secretary of State of the United States of America, boycotted the sitting president in this country, held meeting in Nigeria, went back on the invitation of President Barack Obama, held meeting, and undisclosed meetings. Of course, at that point, Khan did not point accusing fingers to the Muslim community. That was a betrayal to President Goodluck Jonathan. So this is very insane statement from Muric that should be condemned. At this point, Nigerians are united against terrorists. Anybody who contradicts this position is sympathetic to terrorism, and that person should be held liable.
Miriam, just before we take a break, this is a country where you have a sheikh in the person of Gumi, who is consistently negotiating on the behalf of terrorists. He has reacted and says President Tinubu should not take Donald Trump's threat, but should show strength and might and confront Donald Trump. As a Nigerian, looking at all of this, how do you react?
Well, I'll say we shouldn't tow the ways of issues or things that would divide us. You get, we are Nigerians. We should stick to one thing. This thing is not, like Mr. Shedrack said, it's not about Christians and Muslims. It's about Nigerians being killed. So why should we still divide ourselves? This fighting for it, let us unite and make sure that the land in Nigeria is saved instead of fighting one another. It's not going to lead to anywhere.
Well, the advice there is that we need to stand as a united nation. If there is any lesson from we should learn from Rwanda, is the fact that today, when you touch down in Rwanda, you will not hear "I am Tutsi" or Tutsi. What you hear is "I am a Rwandan" or "I am a Rwandese." So we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll discuss the deepening religious tension as Muric alleges Khan betrayed Tinubu, moves by U.S. congressman, U.S. senators, threat of action against the Nigerian government, and, of course, Senator Ndume's position on deploying Akinyemi Kingibe Anyonku to defend Nigeria's image before the United States. Do stay with us and keep sharing the stream.
Camera rolling. Light set. Sound check. And action.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's program.
A
program where we get to talk about the daily lawyers dissect legal issues with intent to educate.
This is the perfect space to create professional quality videos, recording news, podcasts, and all media content. With top-of-the-line cameras, studio lighting, soundproof spaces, we provide everything you need for a seamless shoot. Our fully equipped studio ensures high-quality production every time. Enjoy a comfortable, air-conditioned environment with professional-grade gear and expert support. Contact us now or visit our Abuja location to reserve your spot.
Thanks for staying with us. This is Still Trends with LJE. Reactions continue to trail the development where the Muslim rights concern, Muric, leveling severe accusations of disloyalty against the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN. Now, Muric claims CAN has betrayed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu despite what the Islamic rights group describe as the president's generous consideration for Christians in federal appointments. Professor Ishaq Akintola, the founder and executive director of Muric, strongly criticized what his organization believes was the role of certain Christian leaders in petitioning U.S. authorities about religious killings in the country. The group accused unnamed Christian leaders of creating Nigeria's negative image abroad by sending frivolous petitions to U.S. officials. They further allege that Khan amplified these false claims instead of refuting them. The group argued that Khan's alleged actions are particularly disappointing given the goodwill President Tinubu has shown to the Christian community through key appointments and other benefits. Now, Miriam, you did say earlier, repeating the words of Shadrach, that this is not a case of Christians against Muslim. But here you have Muric alleging that Khan and Christendom in Nigeria has betrayed President Bola Tinubu. Are they refusing to accept the fact that as a nation, we do need help in the fight against terrorism, banditry, and, of course, kidnapping?
The thing is, no matter how they try to paint it, whether we need help or we don't need help, the fact remains that we need help in Nigeria. Now, I don't know, I just hope our religious leaders will help us, because I feel Nigerians, we are loyal to our religious leaders more than our politicians. So I wish these religious leaders can come together and tell ourselves and tell us the truth, instead of trying to paint things black. You see that something is black and you're trying to say, no, it is not like this. I just wish they can come together, unite, forget whether this person is Muslim, forget whether this person is Christian. Religion is not our problem here. People's lives are at stake. Blood is being shed every day. Our religious leaders should come together and help us. Instead of trying to divide us, they should unite us together. We are one Nigeria. Yes, we have different religions, but we are one Nigeria. And so we should fight for ourselves, regardless of the religion.
Now, Shadrach, Nigeria is a secular state. And I think it was under the administration of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, we had a situation where religious leaders from both the Christendom and Islam come together to continually orientate, sensitize the public as to appreciating the connections between both religions. Should that be a line or something that this administration should borrow, especially under the current situation?
It is very unfortunate that I think the major problem we have in this country is a problem of leadership failure. Once people are elected into office, they forget their responsibility immediately and look into their own personal aggrandizements and self-comfort as against the general well-being of the people. If not, this issue, people like this guy in Muric are people that should be carpeted. These are people who throw in divisive statements that will plunge Nigeria into greater conflict. This is not the issue of Khan betrayal to Tinubu. This man is speaking as an ethnic warlord, as a tribal bigot. That is clear position. And I expected the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, led by the Sultan of respected eminent Sultan of Sokoto, to call him to order.
But the Sultan has consistently, in fact, since this issue came, the Sultan at some point allegedly denied that there was nothing like Christian genocide.
Yes, beside that, of course, he will say so, but I'm saying the statement of Muric saying it's a betrayal to President Tinubu. Let him understand that we are not supposed to play allegiance to a person, but to the flag. It's not about Tinubu, it's about Nigeria. So if your death don't pain you, if you don't mourn the death, allow people who has blood in their veins, who are human beings, to mourn the death of their loved ones. People died. And for people like him, these are tribalists, ethnic bigots, plunging Nigeria into greater conflict. They should be called to order. Because like I said, this issue, of course, is not the issue of 2023. This issue are long-standing issues that have been there. No one of them, no leader in the North, have been able to boldly confront T.Y. Danjuma for the statement he made in the United Nations twice addressing it, because he's an authority in the North. We cannot say the same thing in the South. Of course, these things goes on. Let me use this opportunity to say what is going on in Lagos is still a semblance of this, targeting a certain tribe, a certain ethnic group. This is how it starts. I have read out about 10 classifications of genocide, how it starts, and each of them can be nipped in the bud. But when you permit them, you enable them. This government, by the first statement of President Trump, say if Nigerian government continue to allow, the United Arab Emirates sent us list of people that enable terrorism in the country. The government refused to publish their name. The government refused to bring them into account. It means you are enabling it. You are allowing it. That is what it means. So should we clap our hands for them, or we should call for help? If your debt don't pain you, please just go and lie down and sleep, and allow others who have genuine human concern for the loss of humanity to mourn and to cry and to in fact call for help. And this is both for Christians and for Muslims, except you are enabler of terrorism in the country.
Well, moving ahead, a U.S. lawmaker, Riley Moore, has issued a stern warning to the Nigerian government, urging President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to take immediate and decisive action to end the ongoing killings of Christians in the country. In a statement shared via social media, Moore referenced U.S. President Donald Trump's recent comments on Nigeria, saying the United States will no longer look the other way if the violence continues. He urged Nigerian authorities to cooperate with the U.S. in preventing this atrocity that worsens every day, emphasizing that the U.S. wants peace for all Nigerians, especially Christians. While some have welcomed the warning as a show of solidarity with persecuted Christians, others, including activist Omoyele Sowore, have condemned it as a dangerous foreign interference that could destabilize the country. And in a related development, U.S. Senator Ted Cruz is pushing for measures against enforcers of blasphemy Sharia laws in Nigeria. In a statement released on Friday following President Donald Trump's decision to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC, over alleged persecutions of Christians and human rights violations, Cruz commended Trump's strong leadership, describing the move as a crucial milestone in confronting what he called the slaughter and persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The Texas lawmaker revealed that his proposed legislation would strengthen the CPC designation by introducing additional measures, including sanctions against individuals responsible for implementing blasphemy and Sharia laws in the country. He reiterated his commitment to working with the U.S. administration and Congress to advance policies aimed at defending religious freedom and protecting persecuted Christians in Nigeria. Now, Miriam, let me come to you. Already this morning, there are stories suggesting that certain governors, and mostly northern governors, have already been listed for certain sanctions in the U.S. So beyond the threat of U.S., just as Adamu said, possibly seeing U.S. boots on the ground here in Nigeria in a bid to fight terrorism and also quell this alleged genocide of Christians in Nigeria, is it possible we are going to see sanctions against not just Nigeria but Nigerians, high-ranking officials, as a result of alleged involvement in some of these atrocities?
The thing is, nobody is above the law. If you're not doing something right, you should be sanctioned. So if our political leaders, high-ranking leaders, are not doing anything right, yes, they should be sanctioned. And that's if Nigeria should toe that part. I think it's something that is going to bring a whole lot of turnaround in Nigeria. You see that corruption will be decreased. A whole lot of things will stop. But when they know that they do something and they can just get away with it, tomorrow it will repeat and they will do it again without even blinking or flinching. So yeah, I think that is a right path for us to go.
Shadrach, U.S. senators and congressmen are not just leaving it at the alleged genocide against Christians, but they are going after the fact that Sharia law seems to, because we've seen reports, we've seen innocent individuals stoned to death, we've seen all kinds of horrific situations across most parts of the northern part of the country. Now they are going for Sharia law as well.
Well, I can say recent happenings. Thank God there was a recent thing that happened about Sharia law, even here in Abuja, where they have to now overreach the implementation of Sharia law beyond the initial measures that is supposed to be a standard, taking it into the court in Abuja, where a non-faith Muslim, a Christian, property was confiscated That is overreach. So if you don't check these things, they want to, go overboard because government have been silent for too long. So it's a welcome development. We want to see sanctions because people who enable this thing. That's why I love the very first line of President Donald Trump threat message. If the government continue to allow, it is a conditional statement. We should not close our eyes and then because you hate Trump's face. It's if the government continue to allow. And what that means is that government is not referring to President Tinubu. It means every other person in the position of leadership who failed in his responsibility to nip these things on the board should become culprit. That person should be sanctioned. We're here in this country, a sitting governor, in fact, Governor El-Rufai, under his watch in Kaduna State, there are a lot of communities in Kaduna State that have been wiped out and foreigners replace those people. Chiefdom have been cancelled and replaced on Emirates. What is the meaning of that? These things are there. It's not a lie. They are public documents. And so people like that should be sanctioned. Of course, he wants threatening body bags and all of that. People that have record of enabling terrorism in the country. The list is there. Those people should be sanctioned, except the Americans and say want to be hypocritical. They should come out full-fledged by exposing our corrupt leaders. We know people in 1998 who do not have 100,000 naira in their account, but today they are trillionaires and hundreds of thousands, including the current Senate president. He was a lawyer in Lagos. When I was writing my WAEC in Victoria Island, this man does not have 50,000 naira in his bank account. I bet to challenge him. He does not have 50,000 naira in his bank account in 1998. Prior to when he was called to become commissioner in Akwa Ibom State in 1999. And today, of course, this kind of people should be accountable. Corruption leads to compromise. And, of course, compromise and romancing with terrorism. People in leadership position, whether in the army or politicians, they must be held accountable. Nigerian life matters, whether as Muslims or as Christian and traditional worshippers.
We have a comment here from Ebimo Cecilia, and she says, yes, the government shouldn't enable and act transparent in the call for justice and ending the genocide in selected parts of the country. Do keep those comments coming, and Ebimo Cecilia, thank you for that comment. Of course, this is still a developing story, and trust us right here on Trends with LJE to keep our ears to the ground and our searchlight as the development continues to evolve. Now, back home, Ali Ndume, senator representing Borno Central, has called on the federal government to engage seasoned diplomats to defend Nigeria's image following President Donald Trump's designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Now, in a statement on Saturday, Ndume said diplomats should be engaged to help defend Nigeria's image on the global stage. Ndume faulted President Bola Tinubu's administration and the Senate for treating earlier warnings by U.S. lawmaker Riley Moore with complacency. He urged the federal government to take immediate steps to engage Washington and present accurate data showing terrorist attacks in Nigeria and how it has affected both Muslims and Christians. Shadrach, how do you react to Senator Ali Ndume's suggestion to the federal government on how this matter should be tackled?
He is my man of the week for me. Amongst all government agencies and top government officials that have been reacting to this issue, he gave the best position. This is this should be handled in a diplomatic sense. Senator Ali Ndume have shown over the years that he has capacity and he understands leadership, not just to recruit bootlickers and praise singers as advisors who will be speaking from their anus for what I care. But his position is very key. This is the time to deploy sensible and reputable diplomats, like the list he mentioned, Akinyele and Emeka Nyaku, and of course the other guy, former vice presidential candidate to MQ Abiola, people like Kingiwe should be deployed to help us look at this issue because it is very painful. Of course, putting Nigeria as a CPC is not something that is pleasant to us, but we are only reacting both emotionally because we are Nigerians. It's not easy to lose a loved one, not to talk of countless lives being lost, both Christian and Muslims. It is not easy. And to show that the government, there is no near solution, is not nearby. These are the issues that worries Nigeria, not because we really want America to step in. Of course, Nigeria's government should show capacity. So for me, Ali Ndume is my man of the week.
Miriam, as we end this edition of Trends with LJE, what will be your parting words to Nigerians, especially as it relates to this issue?
Okay, like Ali Ndume has said, I wish other governors would lend a voice to this issue and make it go viral, and let Donald Trump come up and help us. Thank you.
All right, it is evident that we do need help. We may be the giant of Africa. Some have said the sleeping giant, but even a giant sometimes needs help. That's all the time we have for this edition of Trends with LJE. My sincere thanks to Miriam Gamali and, of course, Shedrack Oka. Thank you so much for your contributions on the show. Now, don't forget to follow, like, and share at LJE Nigeria on all social media platforms to join the conversation and get updates, especially on our next show. I am John Nkamyang. Bye for now.